Good morning. It is Memorial Day 2020. It's 8:01 in the AM, and doing this thing again where I have Facebook here and I have YouTube here. Anybody who was with us yesterday when my beautiful daughter Emily Grace joined me, first time ever. I had a guest on the video, but a little while ago I did this like a simulcast and was able to go live on YouTube. So yesterday I tried it again, and I get this pop-up message that said something about due to like restrictions, whatever, and then you could say okay or show me more. So of course, being the inquisitive fellow that I am, boom, show me more. And I guess now maybe they give you one for free or something. Now I guess I needed to have 1,000 subscribers. 1,000 YouTube subscribers, just so we're crystal clear on this. I do this for fun, right? I do it for fun. I do it to, started doing this at the onset of the COVID shelter in place, as a way to connect with our CrossFit Pittsburgh membership and, friends and family. But then it kind of got a little bit of fun, and I thought, if I can use this as a platform to maybe spread something positive. Too much headroom. I know I was in the AV club when I was in junior high. True story. Sister Jean Ortenzo, God rest her, she's no longer with us, but she did this thing at St. Raphael's Elementary School, and I was part of it. And too much headroom. You learn that fast. Excuse me. You learn that fast. But anyway. So I thought this was a good way to kind of stay connected and reconnect and, talk about some things. But I want to share a couple things today, being that it is Memorial Day. Not sure really how to segue into this piece. However, it's interesting topic, interesting time. I think is going on here. This looks like all like 3D and stuff. All right, that's YouTube. And oh, this was kind of funny too, though, because yesterday I was like trying to figure out, okay, I need 1,000 subscribers. How many do I have? I had 2. Don't know who they are. Can't figure that part out yet. And bear in mind, it's not that I'm, mentally deficient. It's I just haven't really taken the time to get onto YouTube and figure out how many. I know how many. I just don't know who they are. But I thank you, whoever you are. And then I thought the funny part was. A Facebook friend, Dale. Next thing I know, I get a pop-up. Hey, you've got another subscriber. So thanks for that, bud. Good stuff, man. Sam Peterson, coming to us from a secret government installation in Northern Virginia. Sam, don't worry, man. Listen, I've been giving this some thought. I'm sure you maybe saw it in the news about the research fellow who was working on the COVID out of University of Pittsburgh, right? UPMC, yeah, research fellow, died in an apparent murder-suicide. Listen, if you're wrapped up in some secret government stuff, dude, we know the same, people. They put me in charge of you. You're golden, right? Don't worry. That's what they should have done with this young man. That would have never happened. Not on my watch. Anyway, good to see you. Hello, Justine. How are you? Hope you're doing well. All right. Anyway, back to the point. So I'm not really sure how to transition into this morning, but those of you who know me and been friends of mine for a while will recall a few years back, I was very, very loud and clear on Facebook about my feelings towards, say, the NFL's stance and the whole take a knee posture, and how the NFL reacted to it, and how Nike subsequently reacted to it. And my reaction to it was simple. I make no claims that I understand what drives the motivation of an individual to take a knee during the national anthem. That's not my point. I know people do what they do for their own reasons, and I believe those reasons for something of that magnitude were important to those individuals. I got no issue with that. Never did, right? Never did. My issue was And yeah, I could be, excuse me. Anyway, stand by. For my regulars, you will know that this is a Black Rifle coffee, a rich dark blend, and Black Rifle Coffee Company, Black Rifle Custom. You order their stuff, they send you cool things, and anyway, it's all good. But yeah, so Black Rifle Coffee, veteran owned and operated, Matt Best and crew, and Bubs Naturals, MCT protein, I'm sorry, MCT powder, MCT oil powder, and collagen protein powder. Right, Bubs Naturals, named after, started by a childhood friend and partner of Glenn Doherty, who lost his life in Benghazi. Right, I'm not going to get on that tangent just yet. I'm going to back up, stay the course. So, like I said, that's the way I looked at it at the time, and this part of it I still stand by. You get an individual like Colin Kaepernick. Doesn't matter if he's an NFL quarterback. Doesn't matter if he's a pipe fitter. It doesn't matter if he is the lead skater at the Chess Arena, right? In my opinion, here's the thing. Here's a guy past his prime. Here's a guy well on his way to Canadian football, right? He takes this opportunity that is a very, very sensitive topic, very sensitive topic. And the men and women, or in this case, the men in the NFL who chose to kneel during the national anthem and make their stand, so to speak, no pun intended. Got to look at it like this. While I didn't necessarily agree with their execution, I can't speak to their motivation. I'm not in their shoes, all right? But what I do say is this. Those men, active duty players, took a risk. They took a risk to stand up for their point. If I don't agree with that point, that doesn't matter. What matters is they took a risk, perhaps even risked their careers and livelihoods, but they did it. And these men were at the beginning, some of them, the beginning, middle of their careers, right? They weren't Colin Kaepernick, who was at the end. He was at the end, right? That guy should have been like a commentator on like ESPN, the Ocho or something like that. He's not playing again. Nobody's looking at him, not even back then. They're looking at him for what, like a little bit of a rise, a little bit of a controversy, okay? But I went high and right on that, and I thought, if that's how you're going to do this, being the NFL, if that's a stand you're going to take, shame on you, right? Shame on you. I'm out. And it had been years. I don't even remember how long I had not watched an NFL game and had no intention to. Then I got really bent out of shape with Nike, making Kaepernick this idol, And again, I mean, controversy sells, right? But it's hard for me to split business from emotion, I guess would be the right way to put it, all right? Especially if you've been around long enough and you've experienced loss, firsthand, right? I'm not going to get into detail, and I'm not going to get all nasty about this, but the truth of the matter is this. I looked at Kaepernick as an individual who took a controversial or took a sensitive topic that had controversy swirling all around it, used that for an extra, 15 minutes of fame on a career that was just going down the toilet, right? And no, that's not fair. That's not fair to say going down the toilet. I just think he was past his prime. At that point, he was past his prime, and I think it was like, hey, check this out. I can maybe, stir up some, reignite the flame, so to speak. Didn't agree with that at all. Didn't agree with Nike at all. And, that was that. And as a result, I was like, forget it. I threw it all out. Actually stopped wearing Nike shoes. And those of you who follow CrossFit in the community and all that, you'll know that Reebok and Nike had this big running gun battle. They would each produce these shoes. Reebok, I don't remember what they were called. It doesn't matter. But Nike called their version of the CrossFit shoe the Nike Metcon. And every year they would come out with, the new version. So, as a total geek, I would buy them, buy them in different colors, buy them in different, the version 1s, the 2s, the 3s, the 4s, And, I got to a point where I had quite a few, some of them never, ever worn, ever. And, when I made my stand, I was like, that's it, man. I'm done. I'm done with the NFL. I'm done with Nike, and I'm done with, so basically, you know, got rid of, uh, got rid of my Nike Metcons, and, that was that. Anyway, more to the point. All right, more to the point. I started giving it some thought and some introspection. And by taking that stand, like I did, by taking that stand and saying, that's it, I'm done. I'm done with the NFL. I'm done with Nike. Started to think about it. And just recently, I really want to share this with you because this was cool. This was a really great experience, and started to think about this. If I stood by made my stand, drew my line, then by doing that, I'm disrespecting a lot of men who have really nothing to do with that, nothing to do with it at all. Go back to one of my childhood heroes, who I was actually able to meet years later, and get those moments where there's somebody that you look up to, and you finally get to meet them, and they not only live up to your expectations, but they meet and or exceed your expectations. And that man was Rocky Bleier. When I was a kid, number 20 was my hero, my absolute all-time hero. And I got to meet him several years later, and he was legit. And the point being, here's the thing. Here's a man who played football at Notre Dame, drafted into the NFL by the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then drafted by the U.S. Army during the Vietnam War. All right. Didn't pull any strings, didn't try to get any type of deferment, didn't try to serve in a recruiting capacity in the city of Pittsburgh, yada, yada, blah, blah, nothing like that. He served his country, right? He did what he was expected to do, what he was required to do, and he was wounded in action to a point, stand by, wah, wah, right? Wounded in action to the point that it could have ended his career. And made that one of the, in my opinion, as a young teenager, back in the day, made that one of the most inspirational stories, right? You know what? Stand by one, because this is relevant. I'm going to share this with you. All right. Excuse me. So this was kind of cool. Probably 2004. I was on my first deployment to Iraq, and so just hanging out, just thinking about home and different things, and I don't know what got me on that thought process, but I remembered I had a copy of the original book, Fighting Back by Rocky Bleier, and God knows what happened to it, right? I mean, I had that when I was in probably like senior year at Central Catholic, and how many household moves between then and 2004, and who knows what have happened to it, if I loaned it out, never got it back, or lost it, or whatever, who knows. I wouldn't have lost it, but so anyway, I'm like, and of course I saw the movie. It was a made-for-TV movie. I think it was with Art Carney. Remember Art Carney from The Honeymooners? I think it was Art Carney. Played Ed Norton. And I'll tell you this, why do I know this stuff? My head is filled with so much useless trivia. Hey, Kathy, my head is filled with so much useless trivia, it's not even funny, but I want to say the made-for-TV movie, and I'm going to go way out over my skis here. I want to say it was ABC, Channel 4 back then, before cable TV. Art Carney played Art Rooney, and Robert Urich, Spencer for Hire, played Rocky Bleier. I like Robert Urich. I just don't see him playing The Rock. But anyway, so, God knows where the original book went. I don't know what prompted me to think about that, during my first deployment to Iraq, but, went online and, found a website where I can order the book. So I send in the order, and there's like a little comment box, right? So I write in the comments, I was like, hey, Rocky, it's Mike Petrogallo, blah, blah, blah. And I said, you know, unfortunately, I lost the original copy of my book, but I'd like to order another one. My son wasn't even born yet. Right at the time, I had two beautiful daughters. And Michael, this was summer of 2004. Michael would be born the following January. But for the first time out of three, you know, first two were inconclusive. Number three, on Michael's ultrasound, he was not shy at all. And so we knew that he was a boy, right? So I write to him and I was like, you know, I really wanted to share that book with my son when he's older. And unfortunately, I lost it. I'd like to order a new one. You know, thank you for everything, you know, Mike Petrogallo, right? So package comes in the mail to the APO, the military post office, right? Fighting Back, Rocky Bleier, paperback, because that's all that's available now. But so I was like, all right, great. I'm going to read it again, and then I'll share it with Michael. So I open it up. And inside the cover, it says, Michael, not Mike, Michael, to a future Notre Dame champion, go Irish, Rocky Bleier, right? So I thought that was awesome. Then inside the cover, this falls out, right? And it's Rocky Bleier, 1968-1980. Oh, man down, man down. That's not going to help me get YouTube subscribers. You can't record live until you have 1,000 subscribers. You can bite my toe, huh? Right? Didn't think it was going there, did you? Hang on. I got a little something here that I can set as a... I need a production assistant. Anybody who wants an internship... No, you know what? Because I don't do this... I do this more like impromptu, right? So kind of keep it impromptu. 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? You knew it was going there, right? Here, 2, 4. All right, anyway, where was I? So the book he inscribes to my son, and the card, right? He says, Michael, this book is for your son. The card is for you. Thanks for serving our country. Arrive home soon. We're all proud of you and our troops. Your friend, Rocky Bleier. So, I'm doing a thing in Baghdad, and this man served in Vietnam. I'll tell you straight up, I will do unlimited tours in Iraq and Afghanistan before I would even think about what those men faced in Vietnam, right? And I don't want to get on a soapbox about this either, because I mean no disrespect. If you take that the wrong way, that's on you, all right? But here's the truth. Men who served in Vietnam went and fought a war that was not ours, right? They came home. They were not unappreciated. They were hated, okay? They were hated. They were protested, spit on at the airports. Guys would fly in uniform and then try to change and whisk themselves out quickly so they didn't get caught up in any of this. You know, nowadays, and I mean no disrespect, but it takes more than serving your country and putting on a uniform to be called a hero, right? You serve your country. You did what you should do, right? Oh, to all our heroes in uniform, man, you get my thanks, right? You put on a uniform and you serve our country, you get my thanks, right? You get to be called a hero. You better do a little bit more than that, all right? Different era, different time, but just absolute respect, total respect. Every year in Oakmont, they do a fantastic Memorial Day. This year it's canceled, of course. But last year, I was able to actually meet and talk with some of the Vietnam veterans. And I don't have the words. I don't have the words. And the respect for men who serve their country and then get spit on because of it. They did it anyway. And here's the thing. They were drafted. They didn't have a choice. Well, they had a choice. They had a choice. They could have skipped off to Canada. They could have gotten some kind of deferment, but they didn't, all right? So that's point number one. That's point number one. So back to my original point, you know, with Mike's boycott of the NFL, right? So I start to think about this, and I'm like, you know, by doing what I'm doing, I'm disrespecting men like Rocky Bleier. right? Men like Pat Tillman, okay? Pat Tillman, University of Arizona, Arizona Cardinals, just about to sign a very lucrative contract, and he puts his career on hold, and he joins the Army, and he becomes an Army Ranger, and he loses his life, okay? What do you say about that, right? And you move on from there, and you look at Joe Cardona, all right? I'm going to throw out just a few names for you here. Joe Cardona, United States Naval Academy graduate. He went on to play as a long snapper for the New England Patriots, but even that I will forgive, right? Even that I will forgive. I'll boycott the Patriots, not the NFL. But, Joe Cardona, Jeremy Statt, right? Jeremy Statt, who played, if I'm not mistaken, he played at the University of Arizona with Pat Tillman, right? Drafted to the NFL, wanted to put his career on hold and join the military as well, join the Army. And it was actually Pat Tillman who talked him out of that. He talked him out of it, and he asked him to put it on hold for the minimum amount of time required so that he would earn a pension from, I want to say he played for the Rams. So check this out. He did, right? He put it on hold long enough to qualify for his pension. Then he joined the Marine Corps, and I think he deployed something like 5 times. Deployed to combat zones, all right? And then this one, I think this was wild, all right? A couple months ago, maybe it was like shortly after we closed our gym due to the CoQ10, or is it COVID-19? CoQ10's a supplement. I throw that out every once in a while because I think it's funny. But anyway, Dick, thanks, brother. Thank you. All right, you can all see in the comments, my bro Dick Bondi, Pittsburgher, also an intruder, Bubba, right? I'm going to get to that point in a minute, though. Please bring me back to that, all right? I want to finish up this thought here, but those are names of men that we flew with and served with, and we lost, right? And here's something for you to ponder. Here's something for you to think about. Those men on that list there are just a piece of it, right? Rich Sider, Bob Forwalder, 2 squadron mates of mine. Dick and I were in different classes in the replacement air group. Rich Sider and Bob Forwalder I had gone through Pensacola with, all right? Both of those men were assigned to E-2C Hawkeyes. That's a 5-man crew. Both of those men experienced aircraft mishaps. The entire crew was killed. 2 mishaps, that's 10 men, all right? That's in training. These men here, lost in training. Think about that. Think about that. There's no war at that time. There's no war. And these men choose to serve their country, make the sacrifice to leave home, leave families, for nothing more than the honor to serve their country, right? And I guess what I'm trying to get at is, it's crazy when I think about it. I've lost 4 times as many shipmates in training as I ever did in war. Now, my entire time on active duty, I never lost a comrade to an act of aggression, right? That only happened when I switched over to the dark side, right? And I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change a thing. I would change everything to bring them back, every one of them. Anyway, so back to the point. So with the players that I'm mentioning here, so right after we shut our gym, I get a voicemail, and my wife's like, "Hey, I think this is for you." So I listen to the voicemail. It starts off, "Hey, Rocky." He's like, I'm sorry. So I'm trying to get in touch with Mike Petrogallo. He's like, "Rocky, if this is you, this is Casey. Please give me a call. Here's my number." So point being, it's an area code that is synonymous with the agency where I last served. And I got to be honest with you, every time, and get this straight, all right? I love my current job. Probably for the first time in a long time, I absolutely love what I'm doing right now. I mean, I love CrossFit, and I still do, right? That's my wife and I. That's our thing together. Love it. Wouldn't change a thing. Okay. My my grown-up job, so to speak. For the first time ever, I'm in a position where I'm a director of safety and security for a local large school district, and the upside of that, the perks of that, I never in a million years thought that this would be the case, is to get to interact with kids from elementary school to intermediate school to high school, get to interact with them and get to see how their minds work, man, and how they think, and it's a privilege. It's a privilege, right? But I digress, right? So thank you, Clive. Thank you, Clive. Yesterday, I told I think it's still up. The video is still up. I told the story of the meatball sandwich fiasco. So that was fun, man. That was fun. But sorry, back to the point. So I get this message, and I'm like, oh, you hadn't talked to Casey in quite a while. He was an operations director at the agency I worked for on one of my last deployments to Afghanistan. So he gives me a call. And he said, hey, I see you're still doing the CrossFit thing. I said, yeah, we sure are. And he said, yeah, he's like, listen, let me ask you, do you buy any of your equipment locally? And which we don't, okay? Excuse me. This is why I need like guests on the show or a production assistant so that I could say, Joey, look that up for me, and I could sip on my coffee without. So anyway, I said, no, we don't. And I said, but you know what? It's for the best that we don't, because if we did, everything's closed now anyway. So I said, but two vendors that we use almost exclusively, Rogue Fitness out of Columbus, Ohio, they'll ship right to you. And subsequently, and I think this was pretty cool, subsequently Rogue stopped producing exercise equipment so that they could help with the effort. And I think they kind of retooled and started to manufacture respirators and things like that. But at the time, they were still producing and they were still shipping. So Casey makes a comment, and he said, yeah, he's like, my son-in-law needs to work out, needs to train for work, and their gym is closed. That's how he put it. Excuse me, my son-in-law needs to train for work, and their gym is closed. I said, oh, okay. So I tell him about Rogue Fitness. I tell him about a couple other vendors that could help out. The next thing I know, he makes reference. He's like, yeah, the Steelers closed their facility. And I'm like, now bear in mind, it's been a long time since I've seen Casey. I mean, in fact, the last time we served together, I walked into the Jock, and he's in there. I'm like, well, I'd forgotten he was coming. And I was like, oh, hey, Casey, how are you? He's like, I'm good. And I don't know if I said, something like, man, what brings you here? Like, I thought I'd stop in for a coffee, And he looks right at me, and he's got this classic, he always had dip. Always had a dip. He looks right at me, and he goes, man, I got kids ready to go to college. And I was like, yeah, check that. I get it. And I had forgotten. It had been so long. So now Casey says, yeah, the Steelers closed their training facility. My son-in-law needs to train. And I was like, oh. And he's like, oh, yeah. He goes, it has been a while. He's like, Al Villanueva. Well, I forgot all about it. One of Casey's sons, when I knew him, one of Casey's sons was thinking about the United States Military Academy at West Point. He goes there. He's a classmate of Al Villanueva, right? Alejandro Villanueva. They're classmates. They play football together at the academy. Graduate. Al gets drafted by the NFL, gets into the NFL, and then as he serves as an Army Ranger, 3 tours in Afghanistan, 3 tours, Bronze Star. You understand that the Bronze Star is not the National Defense Service Medal, right? I mean, they don't just give that to you for showing up, okay? So this guy is first and foremost a Ranger. He is legit. And I'm backing up a little bit to kind of dovetail into my whole national anthem thing. And again, I make no judgment here. I do not. But a while back, I want to say it was either a Sunday primetime game. Anyway, the potential for media exposure was very, very high. And the Steelers front office, their answer to this, to keep everything, cordial, Their answer to it was, rather than take the field, the Steelers would stay in the tunnel. The Steelers would stay in the tunnel during the playing of the national anthem. That way, there could be no opportunity for any Steeler players to take a knee during the national anthem. Okay, I mean, you don't have to like it, but at the same time, I always think no decision is the wrong decision, right? I would rather fail while I'm swinging for the fence than take no action. I don't agree with that. But interestingly enough, in that moment, and this was all over the front page of newspapers and online and everything like that, but there's this great shot of Al Villanueva standing outside the tunnel by himself with his hand on his heart during the national anthem. All right? Here's a guy that makes a stand. In my opinion, every bit as much as the guys who decided to take a knee to take a stand, to make a point, right? And he did. And well, it turns out that is my friend Casey's son-in-law. So I think about it, and I'm like, oh man, this is easy. I said, look, the gym's closed, so there can be no contact, no close quarters. I was like, he's more than welcome to train at the gym, since it is a perfect timing. It's perfect timing. He needs to train. We're not able to train in the facility. We had gone exclusively to online programming and Zoom workouts. So he would come in and train, and I got to meet him, got to know him, and I don't have the words. I mean, he is a good dude, right? And he brought in a teammate with him, David DeCastro, who is every bit as much a gentleman, and good guys, man. And for me, it was a little bit of a an eye-opening experience, a little bit of a growing experience to say, hey, you know what a guy does for a living doesn't change who he is. All right, so you're either a good guy or you are not, and these are two good dudes, right? Two good dudes. So matter of fact, Saturday we did the Murph Challenge, virtual, and for all of our athletes and all of our members, we put it out there like, hey, it's Murph, so it's a Memorial Day weekend. Do your thing. You know what to do. Unfortunately, we can't do it together this year. We usually always do it the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, and it's a big deal at our gym. So this year, because of separation and distancing and all that, we did it here at our home. My wife and myself, my daughters, and my son, unfortunately, went missing in action. Yeah, we found him. Turned out he was not far away, but he did go MIA, coincidentally, at the start of the workout, and then he resurfaced after, which was kind of funny. But yeah, so my bro Mike Kamaniak and his family came over, and we maintained appropriate social distancing boundaries. So don't challenge that, right? We maintained arm's reach. Remember that thing? What was that called when you used to? I never did it, but it was called something. And anyway, so I had way back when Al and David started to train at the gym, I had mentioned Murph, and David's like, oh, was that the one you were talking about with the CrossFit workout? And Al says, yeah. And I say, you guys are welcome to join us, because back then when I first put it on the table, I didn't think it would still be locked down this far out. Okay, but so I put the offer out there, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And David's like, well, I can't run, but due to a training thing, but we could substitute, for a row for the run, whatever. And he's like, all right, this was like so long ago. We figured we'd be back in the gym. We're not. So I still put it out, and I said, hey, Al, just a FYI, brother, we're gonna do Murph at our house. You're more than welcome. So they showed up. They didn't do the workout, because bear in mind now, the weight room's open and they are back hard at dabbing. There you go. Thanks, Dick. But they're back. They're hard at preseason training, and I have to tell you, if I played for the NFL and my job was contingent upon my ability, yeah, I don't think I'd go, okay, I'm hard at it Monday through Friday in the weight room training, but hey, it's my day off. Let me do Murph. No, but I got to tell you, it was it was outstanding. You know, it was outstanding to have the opportunity to meet these gentlemen and to really take a step back and say, you know, I'm not proud. I'm not too proud to say I was, I was, um, yeah, you live and learn, right? You live and learn. So I will not, you know, hold individuals like this accountable or responsible for decisions made by owners and you know, the front office. It's not the case. It's not the point. Also, I shared a post earlier today on my Facebook page. I hope some of you were able to see it. And when I first saw this, I was taken aback, and I loved it. I watched it again this morning. Loved it just as much. But it's on YouTube. The young man's name is Maxwell Bunchy Young. All right, Maxwell Young Bunchy. He is, I believe, I want to say he was 12 years old when the video was made, and this was the pregame. He starts off at like a little Sandlot, Pop Warner, you know, a little football scrimmage with some of his friends, and he gets his breakaway run and he just takes off, right? And he's running through different cities across the country. And at about 1:22, I think it is, if I remember, 1 minute 22 seconds of the video, he comes upon Pat Tillman's statue and everything goes silent. He just stands there and looks at it. And you know, I get it, man. You know, cynics are going to say, "Oh, well, you see what happened was." Here's my thing with cynics, right? Take it somewhere else, right? Take it somewhere else because, you know, it's like weeds in a garden. You know what I mean? They only take over if you feed it and you encourage it. And you can be cynical and you can say, "Well, the NFL did this because they knew their ratings." I'm not. I don't support any of the actions that I previously criticized. I don't, but neither do I understand what goes on in an individual's mind. All right, I don't. And you know, like I said, I think you make a move like that, it's a bold move. And those men who first decided to take that path, you know, they didn't know if they were sacrificing their livelihoods or not for something they believed in, as much as I believed in the opposite side of that piece, right? As much as Al believed in it, to step outside the tunnel and you know, stand for the anthem. All right. So, and that's just that, okay? But anyway, all right, I'm off my NFL soapbox. You know, I'm gonna read Fighting Back again because Rocky Bleier is still my hero, right? One of, and I add Al, I add you to that list, brother. Thank you for your service as well, right? But I'll leave you with this today, all right? I think one of the hardest things it was, you know, for me to come to terms with, and some of you here today will know what I'm talking about, right? I am an American fighting in the forces which guard my country and our way of life. I am prepared to give my life in their defense, right? That's the first article of an officer's code of conduct. Code of conduct is what governs our movements, our behaviors. It governs everything we do. All right. I am an American fighting in the forces which guard my country and our way of life. I am prepared to give my life in their defense. All right. That's a fact, and I mean it just as much today as I did in 1989. The thing that they don't prepare you for is watching your brothers give their lives. There's no course for that. There's no... And that was by far the hardest thing I ever experienced. Okay? And as Bondo reminded me, I'd like to go back to that for a moment here. Rick Serix, Bill Daisley, I remember that. Matter of fact, Bondo, Bill crashed after I'd already left aviation, and I was up at EOD Mobile Unit 2, and came out of the briefing one morning, or after PT, and we went to our morning briefing, and they were like, "Yeah, we got to do a dive, whatever the grid coordinates were, right off the Virginia Beach coast." Right, I was at Little Creek at the time, and they're like, "Yeah, we're sending a det out to a det is a detachment. We're sending a det out to recover an ejection seat." Yeah, there was an F-14. I want to say it was a 14. I think it was. Because Days was in LSO school at the time. right? And he had crashed off the coast of Virginia Beach, and they were sending a det from the command I was attached to at the time to go out and recover, because the ejection seats are explosives, and you can't leave that unaccounted for. But that was my first assignment at the mobile unit, was to go recover Bill's ejection seat. So yeah, check. Yeah, Bill Daisley, Rick Serix, Rob Zohar, Fred Dillingham, Chet Atkins, Marshall Atkins, call sign Chet, Ken Ruff, and Paul Ambrogi. I remember, oh man, the Vin Man. I remember one of the last times I saw Paul. I had this, what the hell was it? I had a 1987. Of course, this was in like the early 90s, right? I had an 87 Trans Am GTA. Dude, the complete. It didn't have the big bird on the hood, but I had a 1987 Pontiac Trans Am GTA, and it had been stolen like, I don't know, I should have just left the keys in it. It was stolen so often. So this final time, it was stolen from our driveway in Virginia Beach, and we lived just outside of Dam Neck at the time. And so my car gets stolen, and I don't yet have a replacement. And I think my rental car, I was supposed to pick up my rental car on Monday for some goofy reason. So it was Friday, it was the officers club, and I was thinking about going, not going, whatever. And so anyway, one of my roommates, Mike Durst, he's like, hey man, he's like, I'm staying in tonight. He's like, why don't you just take my car, go. And I was like, yeah man, that sounds great. So boom. But so anyway, I borrow Mike Durst's car. I go to the officers club. I pull in, and as I'm walking across the parking lot, who pops out of their car but Paul Ambrogi? And he's like, hey, he's like, what's up, man? I'm like, hey, how you doing? He goes, dude, is that Nas's car? And I was like, yeah, it sure is. He's like, where is he? And I was like, oh no, man, he's back at the house. I was like, I don't want to go into the whole thing. My car was stolen again. But I don't know why that sticks out in my mind. Just the look on his face. He's like, hey, brother, what's up? Hey, isn't that Nas's car? Where is he? I don't know, good stuff, man. But that's, it's just one of those things, I mean, in a million years, you don't expect it. It's a training mission, right? But it just goes to show, and it proves that, I don't want to sound like an ass or anything like that. I really don't. But, when you leave for work in the morning, nobody expects you to have a heart attack at your desk or a fatal auto accident on your way to work. And similarly back then, these are training missions. But you have to understand from the get-go that every time you strap in a jet, things can go wrong. I mean, it's an unforgiving environment, right? But, yeah, like I said, man, first article, I was prepared, and I still am, to give my life. Nothing ever prepared me for watching my brothers give theirs. It's just, they don't have a course for that. I don't know. Maybe they do now. I don't know. It's a, yeah, the Oak Club at NAS Oceana. That was some fun, right? Oh, but so that's that. That's all I've got today. All right. Thanks all for joining in. Nice seeing you all. Enjoy the rest of your day. All right, and I think last count, I only need 997 subscribers to the CrossFit Pittsburgh YouTube channel so that I can go live. I can go live on Facebook, but I need 997 subscribers on YouTube. So this is the Facebook camera here. That's the YouTube camera over there. And all I need is 997. I don't know. Let me ask you this, though. If I can record it on YouTube and upload it, is there a benefit to going live on YouTube? I don't get it. I don't know. Hey, Carrie, thank you. Thanks, Bondo. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's a benefit, and it's just odd. But this is fun. This is fun. So kind of impromptu, but you know. All right, everybody, I'm out. Have a great day. Enjoy it. Weather's supposed to be good, and I'm between birthdays right now. Right, my baby girl Emily, Saturday, 18. My baby girl Alex, this coming Saturday, 20. 20 years old. Believe that? I don't believe that. I don't know. I just don't understand how she can get older while I get younger. It's odd, right? All right, everyone, have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you later.